morning, Coyote! It's the first day of our jamboree!
Okay, boys, assemble now. Attention!
Chipmunk reporting for duty, Scoutmaster Jaggy.
Well, Chipper, are you ready to earn your travel show host and videographer badges?
Yes, sir.
Ready for Squirrel Ranch?
Yes, sir.
Then get ready to explore West Virginia from one end to the other. Scouts, present gear!
So long, fellas! Wish me luck! Let's go, Coyote! Hey, folks, and welcome to the Summit Bechtel Reserve, the very first stop on my country road Chippin adventure. What's the Summit Bechtel Reserve, you ask? Well, if you're a scout like me, you already know the answer to that, which is the most awesome place on earth! But for all you non-scouts out there, allow me to introduce you to the country's greatest outdoor training, scouting, and adventure center enjoyed by millions of youths and adults involved in the Scouts BSA, and for anyone who just loves the thrill of the outdoors and all that it has to offer. Ready for adventure, Coyote? Let's go! The Summit Bechtel Reserve is now the permanent home to the BSA's annual Jamboree. Now, it took place before we got here, but let's check it out. Wow! What an awesome jamboree! Over 15,000 Scouts BSA attended. This place is huge! I hope I can find the visitor center. Well, jeepers, looks like I found it. And boy, what an awesome visitor center. This is where our official visit to Summit Bechtel Reserve begins, as it does for many Scouts coming here for the first time. In the game, Camp Lewis looks quite a bit different and doesn't exactly scream fun times, but that's post-apocalyptia for you. Now, unlike most 76 game locations, Camp Lewis doesn't bear much of a resemblance to its real-world counterpart, and believe me, that's a good thing. But as you'll soon discover, Summit Bechtel Reserve has lots of tie-ins to Camp Lewis, and we're going to get to see them all. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to Calvin, who's going to be our host for the day. Hi, Calvin. My name's Chip.
Nice to meet you, Chip. Hi.
So, at Camp Lewis, I'm a pioneer scout, squirrel rank.
That's a tadpole uniform.
So, tell us what you do here and all about the reserve.
Here I'm full-time, and I work with the graphic design team as far as the social media, IT, and the AV work that need to be done around here.
Oh, wow, social media. I didn't know that, Calvin. They certainly hooked us up with the right tour guide. So how do you like that?
It's fun. It's a big learning experience, and it's always a lot to cover.
I can imagine. The jamborees alone. So, folks, the Scouts BSA has been gracious enough to welcome us here and to be able to share the Summit Bechtel Reserve with all of you. And Calvin's going to take us around to explore it and show us the many amazing things Scouts and adventurers of all types can enjoy when visiting. It's a one-of-a-kind place, and for me, a real honor to be here and to be able to share. Calvin, it's your show. Where do you want to start?
Let's go this way.
Lead the way, my friend. Ready to explore, Coyote? Let's go. Now, what kind of explorer would I be if I didn't know a thing or two about the place I'm about to explore? The Summit Bechtel Reserve is one of 4 such scouting and adventure facilities managed by the National Council of the BSA. Others can be found in New Mexico, Minnesota, and even one in the Florida Keys. But for sheer size, diverse terrain, and proximity to a spectacular national park and the rugged Appalachian Mountains, none compare to the Summit Bechtel Reserve, which is why it was chosen as the current home to the National Scout Jamboree in 2013. The reserve consists of the Paul R. Christen National High Adventure Base, the James C. Justice National Scout Camp, and the John D. Tickle National Training and Leadership Center. The reserve covers a sprawling 14,000 acres and is conveniently located adjacent to the New River Gorge National Park, providing access to the spectacular New River, a favorite for all kinds of awesome water activities. The reserve was inaugurated by the opening event, which was the 2013 National Jamboree. On November 18, 2009, the BSA acquired the property that was approximately 10,600 acres of the land. The acquisition was possible due to a generous donation from the Stephen D. Bechtel Jr. Foundation of $50 million, the largest in BSA history. By the way, if the name Stephen Bechtel sounds familiar, that's because the Bechtel Corporation was one of the 6 companies that was responsible for the construction of the Hoover Dam, as we learned in last season's Hoover Dam episode. About a year later, the BSA announced additional donations totaling $100 million, including a $25 million donation from the Suzanne and Walter Scott Foundation. Both Stephen Bechtel and Walter Scott earned the coveted Eagle rank as Scouts. On October 22nd of 2010, ground was broken with a ceremony that featured 22 golden shovels. While the Scott Scouting Valley and Scott Visitor Center, the building we started at, were constructed, another generous gift from T. Michael and Jillian Goodrich was received and allowed for the SBR, Summit Bechtel Reserve, to create its centerpiece, Goodrich Lake, also the centerpiece to our beloved Camp Lewis in 76. Mr. Goodrich is also a Distinguished Eagle Scout Award recipient. On April 1, 2012, Justin D. McCarthy, a retired Vice Admiral of the U.S. Navy, was appointed Summit Group Director and is responsible for all aspects of operation at the reserve. Mr. McCarthy is a lifelong Scouter and received the Silver Buffalo Award, the BSA's highest recognition for volunteerism. The SBR features 3 main areas, as we mentioned before. The Paul R. Christen National High Adventure Base, the James C. Justice National Scout Camp, and the John D. Tickle Training and Leadership Center. Each of these represents unique and challenging opportunities for Scouts and visitors alike. There are 6 sub-camps, which are able to house up to 40,000 campers. The SBR site was once home to the coal mining industry, which should come as no surprise considering its proximity to Beckley and the heart of West Virginia's coal mining heritage. The remains of the abandoned surface mines were wide, flat areas that tiered the terrain into a series of benches, which helped greatly in the pre-grading and excavation of the property during construction. Today, the Summit Bechtel Reserve serves as an inspiring testament to the core values of Scouts BSA: leadership, as embodied by the generous business leaders and donors who made it all possible; adventure, as evidenced by the many amazing activities found everywhere here, as well as the natural splendor of the New River Gorge and the Appalachian Mountains; service, as seen through all the volunteers who keep it pristine and running; and sustainability, the key tenet of Order of the Arrow, the very BSA order from which the Summit Bechtel Reserve project got its name, Project Arrow. So now that you know all about the history of the SBR, let's get to exploring it in person and see just how amazing this place is. And here we are at our first stop, the park. Calvin, please tell us what this area is all about.
This here is the skate park, called the park here at the Summit Bechtel Reserve.
Wow, so the Summit Bechtel Reserve has its very own skate park. What can they do here?
Yep, they can learn the basics of skateboarding as far as push, plant, pivot, and they can also learn what all goes into skateboarding.
Oh, awesome. So there you go, folks. A whole skate park here at the reserve. Do you skate, Calvin?
Every once in a while I hop on, but I make sure I have all the protective padding.
Yes. Well, I sure would love to try it, but I just can never seem to find the right helmet. So let's check it out.
right.
So this is pretty cool. So Calvin, what is this area exactly?
This here's the assessment area.
Okay, so then basically they would start here and then you guys would determine what their skill level is?
Yes, they come here, they make sure they're comfortable on the board and want to proceed with learning how to skateboard.
That's great. So this would be the beginner section essentially.
Yes.
So I noticed it's separated into different sections. So is that like beginner, intermediate, and advanced?
Yeah, the more you get comfortable on the board, the more advanced you can go and the more area that you can cover.
Very cool. And I suppose you get all kinds from like beginners to X game type experts.
Yep, we never know who's going to come in here and hop on a board.
So what's this section all about?
This is the flow section. This is where you get comfortable on your board to be able to flow in and out of the terrain.
Wow. Now before I came, I reviewed my Scout handbook and I found that there's a badge for skating. I bet they can earn it here.
Yes, exactly.
And the sheer size of this park is amazing. I read it's one of the largest in the world. So another great reason to join Scouts, my friends. You can come here and skate in an absolutely amazing world-class skate park. What do you think, Coyote?
What are you doing? You gonna skate?
Just down from the park, you'll find the tracks, a BMX park. So gosh, over there you've got a skate park, and now we have a BMX park, and it's just as awesome. So Calvin, tell us about the tracks.
The BMX park, we take you here, we teach you how to ride properly on the BMX track, we teach you the berms and the rollers and how to properly take.
So hear that, guys? Here at the tracks, you can jump on a BMX bike and learn some skills, or put the ones you've got to the test. So here we are on the jump-off point to the BMX track, which you can see behind me. And gosh, standing here, you can just imagine what it looks like when it's game on. Like the park, the tracks is a world-class course, and it's awesome. So Calvin, tell us all about it.
So the tracks here, we have mini tracks, courses, we have the beginners, we have the, once you get comfortable, you can move more advanced one. And this here is our biggest one here on site. So this is the one after you get comfortable, you do your pre-ride, re-ride, re-ride. You come here and you take on the tabletops, the berms, and all the rollers that we have here. The bigger one.
So Calvin, are you a BMX biker?
I've done it. I was actually an instructor at one point here.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay guys, here's something a little more familiar for us Pioneer Scouts from Camp Lewis. Here we have the bows, an archery range. And you know what you have to do at Camp Lewis to get your archery badge. So, the bows. Calvin, can you tell us a little about this?
Where you come to learn how to do archery. And yeah, we have plenty of targets out there that you can practice your aim.
Okay, cool. So let's go in and see how closely it resembles the in-game version of Camp Lewis. I'll follow you, sir. Just wow. So okay folks, once you step into the archery range pavilion, you'll immediately notice how familiar it looks to the range at Camp Lewis. Now before we came in here, Calvin took us to the field where the targets usually are and told us some of them are actually dinosaurs. To me they kind of look like death claws, so gosh, what better targets can you have than that? So right out there, you can prove your archery skills and bag yourself a dinosaur or a death claw in the process. Now just looking at the back wall puts you right in the game. You can see the little office there, and then there's the table that looks a lot like the workbench where you make your first bow. Then, looking out to the range, you really see how the structures are exactly the same. So in comparing the two, you can clearly see that the bows was the inspiration for the archery range at Camp Lewis. So when you're all done skating and BMX biking, come over here and shoot some death claws, or dinosaurs, or whatever. Okay, so the awesomeness continues. So this is clearly a really cool rock climbing wall. Can you tell us all about it?
Boulder Cove. Boulder Cove is a program area that we offer to our scout camps as well as high adventure camps. So in the evening program, they're able to come out here and climb until they can't no more.
So Calvin, what are those up there? Are those for rappelling?
Yes, on the right hand side is the higher ones. They're for rappelling. Our staff members take you up there and give you a chance to be able to experience rappelling.
Boy, oh boy, when they say high adventure, they mean it. Boulder Cove is another world-class sporting area here for all to enjoy. Calvin, after you. Now from this vantage point, you'll get a breathtaking view of the heart of the Summit Bechtel Reserve, and you'll spot yet another exciting attraction, the Big Zip. A spectacular set of 5 zip lines spanning a combined 3,000 feet and allowing you to fly through the air at speeds of up to 50 miles per hour. But notice the jump tower. Look familiar? Yep, that's the inspiration for the iconic tower at Camp Lewis. Across the field from the Big Zip area, you can't miss the most recognizable feature of the Summit Bechtel Reserve, Lake Goodrich. Custom made for all kinds of fishing and boating fun, and perfect for all manner of water activities, sure to earn you some more badges. Now walking down to Lake Goodrich, you'll notice a small bridge leading out to a little island, and if that seems familiar to all you 76ers out there, it should, as that very island is the inspiration for the one we know all too well from the Swarm of Suitors side quest at our beloved Camp Lewis. So we're going to go down there now and check it out. Hopefully we won't run into a Mirelurk queen while we explore the lake. So Calvin, I'm right in assuming we won't be bait for any giant crabs, right? Okay, I'm holding you to that. Let's go.
No giant crabs in the lake, not here.
So here we are now at Goodrich Lake, and it looks like Calvin's confidence that there's no Mirelurks around here was well placed. I haven't seen one yet or heard that annoying clicking. Beside the point. Goodrich Lake is a spectacular lake for swimming, fishing, paddleboarding, and dragon boat racing. So many ways to earn all kinds of aquatic merit badges. Calvin, what else can scouts do here at the lake?
Goodrich Lake, it's the lake here surrounding Brownsea Island. Brownsea Island is one of our scout camp programs that we do when they come here for the summer.
Oh, cool. What do they do on the island?
I believe they do activities such as earning badges, kind of like how they did it in the beginning. So setting up the tent traditionally, how they would do it, or how they did.
Oh, wow. So the island has some historical value to the scouts as well. That sounds awesome. Now I'm really anxious to get down there and explore it. After you, sir. Okay, folks, it's the pier. Right down from the main part of Camp Lewis, right out to the island. You don't get any more in-game than this. Let's go see what we can find down there. And here we are on Brownsea Island. Now that name is very significant to scouts worldwide. You see, in 1907, Lieutenant General Baden-Powell of England chose his Brownsea Island in Poole Harbor in the south of England as the location for what was the very first scout camp, which ran from August 1st to August 8th in 1907. There, the first scouts participated in activities centered around camping, woodcrafting, observation, life-saving, and patriotism. The very foundations of what would become scouting to the entire world and how we know it today. Stepping off the bridge, you'll spot a bust statue of Lord Baden-Powell, which has a base of an amazing BSA logo on the front and a plaque listing out all of the BSA presidents from 1910 to present. The statue of Lord Baden-Powell on this island is not only significant because he was the founder of Scouting, but also because he essentially inaugurated Scouting on the actual Brownsea Island from which this little version we're standing on takes its name. And to celebrate that, the Summit Bechtel Reserve hosts a special program during the annual Jamboree in which they reenact the events and activities of Lord Baden-Powell's iconic 1907 camp. While in the British military, Lord Baden-Powell had written a book on military scouting entitled Aids to Scouting. Upon returning home, he discovered the book was a bestseller. A short time later, he decided to write a youth version of the book, and it instantly became a classic, selling over 150 million copies and was embraced by youths worldwide. Inspired by the book, kids spontaneously began forming scout groups all over the world, and soon the movement took on a life of its own, and Scouting as we know it was born, all thanks to Lord Baden-Powell. So there you have it, folks, the Summit Bechtel Reserve, an amazing place filled with high adventure, learning, and all-around fun. But now it's time for me to head back to the visitor center and say goodbye to this awesome place till next time. Calvin, thanks so much for that tour and taking me around to share this fantastic place. You're all doing a fantastic job here, and Scouting is such a wonderful and worthwhile program. In fact, folks, if you're not in Scouts and would like to support it, here's the official link to do so. If you are in Scouts, you're going to have the time of your life coming here to the Summit Bechtel Reserve and having an awesome scouting adventure of your own. And if you're lucky enough to attend a Jamboree, it will be an experience you'll never forget, and there's no better place in the country to host it. Oh, by the way, even if you're not in Scouts BSA, you can visit Summit Bechtel Reserve on most weekends by doing the family adventure, where you and your family can come here and you can enjoy the reserve and see and do so many of the things the Scouts get to do. Heck, you can even get married here. It's a great opportunity with plenty of family activities for you all to enjoy. Calvin, again, thanks so much. It's been such a pleasure. There you have it, folks. In the game, Camp Lewis. In the real world, the amazing Summit Bechtel Reserve.